Mind is confused with confusion. To our problems, there is never no solution. They become the midnight ravers. Please don't let me skilly-dabby, don't you let me down. All right, guys. So the video just started. I was in the midst of preparing, setting up. But I did a meditation before this, and we are going to be talking about love frequency today. The frequency of love. Okay. The song that I was singing was Midnight Ravers by Bob Marley. I saw there was a Jamaican version. I'm not sure if this was like one of those songs that was remade or Bob Marley original. A Bob Marley and the Wailers original. I'm not really sure, but I'll look it up after this. But I recommend go listening to that song and listen to the lyrics. Okay? Now, we melanated beings, we have mastered time travel. Okay? And that's why it's good to listen to old elders, people who came before us. Listen to their consciousness, because they're literally traveling from their space of time. They can travel to the future, they can travel to the past, because it's all one, right? It's all one, all right? And depending on which level of consciousness you are, which level of consciousness that you were born into, it's where you actually pick up the mantle for you to continue learning life's journey, okay? For your soul ascension, for your divine understanding. That's the only reason why we're here. Okay? So you're listening to our elders before, they'll tell you certain keys, certain portals that they'll open up for you to manage your current reality as you are going forth. Okay? Sometimes they may come in your dreams, sometimes they come in your meditations. When you're present, all right, they're able to reach, contact, give you guidance accordingly. Okay? And then there's messengers along the way, people who we have alliances in spirit along the way that can help accordingly, right? If we have a similar soul journey, right? It's kind of like we meet up in class and we share notes, right? Call them cheat codes sometimes, but they're not really cheat codes, right? Think about it this way. When you're in school and let's say you cheated on the test or cheated on your assignment, the fact of the matter is you're being exposed to the material for you to learn. Okay, so it's not really such thing as cheating, right? You can't really cheat life, right? It's either you incorporate the lessons and you ascend, or you continue and continue until you pass, until it's registered in your brain. Okay. That's why there isn't really a right or wrong thing, because it's you that have to walk the life that you live in. Okay. It's you that when your consciousness settles has to be settled. Okay. So with that being said, you can't tell the woman from the man, because they're dressed in the same pollution. Their minds are confused with confusion. To their problems, seems there's no solution. I become a midnight raver. Please don't let me skilly-dabby, don't you let me down. Nighttime raver. He also does a premonition where he says, I see 10,000 chariots, and they're coming without horses. The riders, they cover their face, so you can't make them out in smoky place. I become a midnight raver. Please don't let me down, 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 down. Don't let me down, don't let me down. All right. So a couple things that comes. All right, I'm going to do a reading. That's why I'm holding my cards. Okay, and I have a message, I have a download, I have a reading, but I also want to just put this out because this song has been with me for a couple of days, and they're like, you got to put it out, so I'm putting it out. Okay. When I see this, I see the energy of what it's like to be in Babylon, a state of confusion, a state of immaturity in which any kind of spirit can come onto you to the point that you are now confused about your reality. You're confused about your natural identity. Okay? It's like you go down so much in the world of illusion that you have lost sense of clarity. Misalignment and hell in my energy. Okay? That is when you're confused in a state of confusion, it is very hell frequency. Okay? Um So that being said, he's describing this scenario in which it literally sounds like you're in a club, right? It's smoky, right? And he's trusting the energy of the music, right? That they actually lift them up, not let them down. This is why when you go to certain parties, you want the frequency to be right. The DJ themselves have to be in tune to raise vibration, right? Not cause you to sink lower. It's a big responsibility. That flight is a great responsibility. And we're not talking about physical, we're talking spiritual speak, right? Even Fellow Kuti tells you that it's an abomination. I'm paraphrasing, please. All right. That you are using your musical talents in order to sink your people. All right. I don't know if Hollywood got that memo, but they probably did. And they did it purposely to keep us sunken in a sunken spiritual space. Okay. In a state of confusion. You want to mature, you want to grow up. All right. And I'm not talking about in physical speak, I'm talking about your spirit wants to mature. All right. When you are younger, you are a baby. There are certain frequencies, certain spirits that could inhabit your body easily, right? Because you were young. Okay. But as we grow physically, we grow spiritually, we grow mentally. All right. So then we become more mature. You don't want to stay spiritually locked in at a younger level, at a toddler level. Okay, so there comes with certain disciplines, there comes with certain practices that's required, okay, for your soul ascension. Okay, and not only that, but for you to also give back to those that you love. Okay, the experience of life is an enjoyable one if you really do trust the process. All right, so he talks about, I see 10,000 chariots and they're coming without horses. We're not talking about physical, we're talking about spirit, right? It literally reminds me of the chariot card in tarot where you have a white and black phoenix like creature, meaning it has a human face and a lion's body. And there's a there's a person in the chariot, right? And he's holding his head. It's usually the Cancer frequency, Cancer card. Okay, but the phoenixes are stoned and they don't move. They do not move. Okay, they do not move. This is all has to do with spirit. You have your shadow and your light, and your spirit is leading the way forward, right? It usually is a frequency of success, right? Because your spirit goes out before you. All right, that's how you're able to time travel. To be honest, right? Your spirit comes back, downloads, right? Upload, download, right? And then your physical reality adjusts accordingly. Okay, very much to do with what's in your heart frequency. All right, your heart is the GPS of your spirit. Okay, um, and which is a good segue into talking about the love frequency, right? Heart chakra stuff. Okay, but let me take a sip of my water. Let me recombobulate, right? And then continue. Just want to make sure there's any more things about the song. The riders, they cover their face. Yeah. So as you're moving around in your vessel, right, you have spirits around you. You have spirits around you. And I'm thinking we'll do a separate video about possession. I'm not sure if that's going to be fit into this one today. Okay. I want to stay focused on love. Okay. But you have different frequencies, different spirits in your aura field. Okay. That you carry with you. Okay, and so we have passengers, we have riders, right? There's dark riders, there's light riders, right? There are shadow riders who aren't necessarily evil, right? But they will balance out situations, if you understand what I'm saying. As long as they hitch a ride with you, they will be loyal to you. And then any other shadow that is coming to mock you or trying to cause some harm to you, they will become the knights. They will become the knights in the night, if you understand what I'm saying. Knights with a K for those who are slower in class. All right. So it's not about good or bad. It's really about shadow and light. All right. So please understand that. All right. So you can't make them out in smoky place. All right. So some of them will mask themselves. Like that's the idea, right? You would not know what shadows certain people are carrying until you are now in their jurisdiction. Meaning what? If you mean ill, if your shadow mean ill will on somebody else's shadow, that there's bigger players at play that will come out, and you will see they will be like, "Hey, watch it! I am here." I am working in the shadow of this in this person's shadow. I am lurking. I am hitching a ride on her. Okay? Because she's has a destination I am heading to. So I offered my protection. So where you think that this is baby, where you think that this is a vulnerable entity, a vulnerable person, right? It's actually there's a whole army behind them. All right. And it's only when your nonsense your state of confusion starts to rear its head do they come out. Okay. So be mindful of that. All right. Be mindful of what things make you get the heebie jeebies and check yourself accordingly, especially since if the physical hasn't done anything, it's a spiritual thing that's going on. Okay. Us who are delivered or I guess been assigned to be messengers, us who are assigned to answer certain prayers, we are protected in a certain way to not allow your confusion to inhabit our own personal journey, right? This is why some upperclassmen, remember I was talking about this in another reading, some upperclassmen, meaning people who have already been through the thing that are struggling with, have already ascended. Not personally them, but maybe their bloodline has already ascended. It means it's in their layer of their akashic records. When they tap into their mitochondrial DNA, when they tap into their matriarchal side, they're able to easily figure what is going on. They see clarity in that, and they can see because we have many lives before us, right? This is why we respect our elders and their journey. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay? And if you are hard headed, if you aren't able to submit to that fact, it is very difficult for you to stay away from the element of confusion. All right? This is what we're asking. But don't worry, you're going to go through your own graduation sequence. Okay? But the upperclassmen sometimes help us. They give us certain codes, they leave their notes. They leave their notes for us in order to ascend certain things because nothing is new under the sun. Nothing is new under the sun. Okay? So, with that being said, they come, they leave their notes. If you're not unable to understand the notes, that means that there's something that you need to be in isolation with your spirit people, right? Because no matter what, as long as the message was delivered, how you perceive it has nothing else to do with us. We wash our hands of it. Okay? It's for you to see who is friend, who is foe, who is who. And if you don't have that level of discernment yet, this is what this part of this life is order for you to cultivate that. Okay? Trust me, I had learned some really hard lessons in my walk, in Mika Mink's walk, in Shamika's walk. Okay. All right. And it's only through my own spirits, people who I already have love alliances with, was I able to find my way out. And so that's why I offer gratitude. I offer gratefulness. I offer my love, my space, my physical being. I go when they need me to go. Okay. I work with them accordingly because they have helped. And it's the same thing with certain elemental shadow spirits, right? Meaning they were born in a certain level of darkness, a certain level of the absence of the clarity of God. Okay? And so they end up being loyal to those who help, right? Who help. But you got to be careful with that too, because sometimes other shadow beings will come as a false light, offer help in order to actually lead you further away from clarity, to lead you more into confusion. Okay? All right? You have to earn the discernment to see who is who. Okay? Not through manipulation tactics, right? Because there's this idea of you don't bite the hand that feeds you. But if the hand that is feeding you poison, that's when you have to start fasting. Okay, you don't eat it. It's okay. You know, you don't have to accept everything somebody giving you just because it's satisfying your flesh. All right? Remember, spiritual comes first. All right, let's get into this love frequency. Let me take a break. Okay, so we have love frequency. All right, love frequency equates to the freedom of burdens and trust of your breath. Okay, freedom of burdens and trust in your breath. Hate and vengeance cannot live here. Forgiveness is liberation in this frequency. Okay, forgiveness is liberation in this frequency. Okay, hold on. Okay. Uma, can you please stop it? Hmm? Cayenne pepper and lemon. Okay, and some spring water. Very good. All right. Your judgment of the lives of others is a reflection of you. Your judgment of the lives of others is a reflection of you. In this meditation, I wrote this because we're talking about forgiveness is liberation, right? So it's not really about you judging them or casting judgment on them. And as somebody who is ascended from the frequency of wrath, vengefulness, lust, okay? The reason why we choose this path of forgiveness is nothing to do with not people not getting what is due to them. They're going to get that no matter what because of the lack of consciousness. If I do something bad to you and I sell a piece of myself, my wholeness, oneness with God, and I do wickedness unto you, okay? It's not really for you to get vengeance. And some people want to hold that mantle. They want to hold like, no, yes, it's my turn to get my vengefulness on you. It will come no matter what. Because as you live longer, you realize the whole thing about this experience has nothing to do with our personal squabbles or our personal disagreements of who what belongs to who. None of that matters, to be honest. Right? It is material, but it's not the overall picture. This is why we talk about the most high, meaning the most high perspective. Right? Who is watching down and watching everything go to play? The God energy that's moving in people. Right? So if somebody does something wickedness onto me in their own soul journey, it's they who have to meet that, right? Because you're all reflections to one another, right? So where they think they are winning, when the dark night of the soul comes, because it will come. You cannot escape it, all right? Especially if that person was operating out of a love frequency, the frequency of love, wholeness. Meaning they were not coming there to manipulate, but only to actually enhance or give abundance to, which really asks for nothing in return because it's something that is divinely given, right? Back to what I was saying about people who answer prayers. There's people who answer certain prayers. You in your heart space, you cry out to God, and then we hear because we are also connected to that oneness. Okay, the frequency of love. We are operating on the frequency of love by ourselves, and we can hear it in the ether, and so we show up. But if you don't have the energy to be able to receive, okay, and if you're choosing confusion over clarity, and you can tell this by what you are saying, what your higher self is directing to you versus what you are not letting go of, whatever thing in the past that you're clinging to, whether it be some kind of trauma that's now taking the place of your whole identity, or the savior complex, where you feel like you have to bring souls from the past into your present because of some kind of level of guilt or loyalty. You got to be careful. Okay, this is ways that the entity of confusion likes to keep you drawn and stayed in that energy. Okay, and so they can inhabit your vessel some more. All right, we're going to get into that. All right, but your judgment of the lives of others is a reflection of you. So if something happens, let's say you interact with some entity outside of you, at the end of that interaction, or everything that was done in the dark will come to the light. Okay? Hindsight is always 2020 because that's where you see the holistic picture. It's super clear. Right? Everything that was said, every voice exchange, every interaction starts getting broken down, right? Especially when you, like I said, you go through the dark night of the soul in your isolation. All right, Virgo energy, when you're in that isolation, in that deep meditation, okay? In that deep meditation. And that is actually a very, that's a key signal for you too, right? Any entity that's distracting you from that meditation, that's trying to bring you out of that meditation, they have something to hide. They are literally there to distract. Okay, and it's not may not be that person, but that person is carrying that entity on them of confusion. Okay, they haven't integrated their shadow well enough yet. Okay, so you got to be careful. If you start getting to a meditation and it's making other people uneasy around you, right? You got to be like, there's something wrong. There's an entity here that doesn't want to be seen. Okay, because in that quietness, in that low, you get to see everything, you hear everything. It's such a peaceful place. All right, so if they're constantly trying to bring energy of hell, turmoil, confusion, bacchanal, wahala, they are not at peace. They have not entered the gates of heaven. They're still working it out, right? And in that workout comes a great deal of confusion, which is a choice. It's a choice. All right, and you can't save nobody from that. All right. Your judgment of the lives of others is a reflection of you. So once you're done with the exchange, you get to see what reflections of you did you leave behind. Okay, we're talking about that split. Pay attention to this. I want you guys to think about an area in your life in which you want to have improvement. Okay, commit to that improvement for 7 days. Yes, 7 is an important number in spirituality. Okay. It is literally the next number when you're coming out from the 6, which is like moving on from the past. Okay? It's like it's that energy when you're deciding. So you just 7 days, it's fine. Commit to that act for 7 days, whether it could be working out, it could be just a meditation. You want to be more, meditation's a perfect one because then you can never go wrong with that one. Okay, so you're gonna wake up and you're gonna do a certain meditation, you're gonna write down in your journal, you're just gonna sit in quietness, no distraction. No YouTube, no music, nothing. Just you quiet for 7 days. You can even do it for 7 minutes because that's hilarious to me. But you may end up doing it longer, right? Because the stuff that's going to be downloaded into you is going to help. All right. So let's say you decide to do that and you're breaking away from an old frequency pattern and now you're setting a precedence for a new one. Now, it hasn't gained a lot of momentum because it was just 7 days. Okay. But once that separation happens, what's going to happen is this is going to open up a different portal, a different paradigm for your existence, for a certain reality. Okay? Now, people from the old reality are going to notice, they're going to be like, what's going on there? This person who used to be vibrating on this frequency repeatedly, cyclically, has decided to take a different frequency route, a different station to listen to by actually committing to action, a different vibration. Now, they're going to try to reach you up here. They're going to be like, hey, what's going on? But they may keep going back down. Okay, they may end up like this, trying to meet you where you're at, but you hold firm in this resonance. Meaning, you're going to commit to this time to do that certain thing. Now, after a certain celestial movement, right? I can't tell you when, because it just happens, to be honest. Sometimes it happens quickly. Sometimes it happens slower. Okay. It's not a time thing. All right. But there's going to be a time where they can no longer meet this resonance. and then there's going to be a split. Now that split can happen without any true more trauma being inflicted. Okay, it doesn't have to be more traumatic, but they may use what they know about you in order to keep you from ascending, to keep you on their vibrational frequency. Okay, it just depends on how mature this particular entity is. Now, why is this happening? Because you guys were once a reflection of one another. Whatever resonance made you guys bond, it's in a certain reality. Okay, and the more you've been pouring into, the more energy that you poured into it, whether it be meetups, talking, any kind of energy exchange, you've now solidified that resonance. Now that you're doing something different, they're going to use many different tactics to keep you lower. And it's not really them, it's the entity in which they're serving. Okay, if it was laziness, if it was procrastination, if it was confusion, if it was distraction energy, meaning that, hey, I'm distracted, I'm serving the energy of distraction, I'm also wanting you to be distracted. Okay, now in this moment of the split, it can go a lot of different ways. It could go, like I said, bacchanal. And for those of us who've ascended from wrath, okay, don't get caught up in that one. All right, don't get physical, don't hit. If they touch you, you touch them. And you hear me? This is the kind of ancestors I come from. They put their hand on you, you put your hand on them, and I promise you that a whole nother level of possession is that. Okay, and we're going to get into possession another video. Okay. All right, but right now we're talking about love and reflections. All right, so once you are done with the exchange or the split, right, the judgment is really for you to realize what parts of you were living in that person, what energies what resonance did you guys have, what spirit did you guys share in common that you decided to let go of to get a higher level frequency, a more frequency of union, a more frequency of peace, a more frequency of love. Okay, so it's not really that you are judging that person. I'm just going to use the word Samantha, the name Samantha. Let's say Samantha, you guys were both resonating on the frequency of avoidance, on the frequency of confusion, drama. You guys fed off of drama energy, right? You guys watch a bunch of drama and you're like, you guys talk about it and you both get the shadow feeding, like, yeah, did you see how she whooped her ass? Okay, whatever. Then you decided, I'm going to take a week of not gossiping. I'm going to take a week of not getting distracted by anything that's dramatic, that's feeding this energy of drama. Then she comes and she's like, why don't you want to talk about this stuff anymore? You think you better than me? She's coming with distraction, coming with the rah-rah, coming with the drama. Okay? And you're like, nah, I'm good. Right? I'm good. And then there's going to be many different tactics for that entity to stay in your world. But if you hold firm on the frequency that you're trying to change, you're going to set up a different paradigm for you that's more lighter, that's not constrained by these lower level energies. Okay? Your old frequency wants to keep you in that frequency. So you have to be able to recognize when it's rearing its ugly head and recognize when the split is actually happening. Now, if Samantha is an actual true friend to you, she will be able to meet you where you're at. Anytime she wants to actually converse with you, the love that she has for you, if it was actually present and she's not just, giving way to this entity to keep, I don't know, if she's not just keeping this frequency on her own, she will be able to meet you, and then you guys have to just break accordingly, right? You just got to meet people where they're at. Okay. And that's how you know if the love was actually true, is if they're able to meet you in these spaces without trying to hinder your progress. All right. It's a big one. All right. So if you know that you're trying not to smoke, if you're trying not to drink, you don't offer that to people who are trying to break away from that frequency, because they know the reason why it is that they're trying to break from that frequency. You respect it because if you actually have love for them, if you actually have love and care for them, okay, and you want what's best for them. If not, you know who you serving. It's just that serious. It's just that serious. It's just that serious, and it's also just that simple. It's very clear. Clarity. That's all. All right, and clarity comes. You don't need anyone to give it to you unless you're choosing to stay in a state of confusion. All right, because the last time if we're speaking the same language, You'll be able to get them at this is what the message is. If you don't want to accept the message, then you stay in your state of confusion. All right? Until it comes to you in your meditation. Okay? Virgos are very good with that. Okay? That's one thing. I'm a Scorpio. Okay? With a Virgo moon in subconsciousness. Okay? So I'm really, really married. All right? But they are very good at delivering a message. And then until you get into your meditation, then you're going to hear it. Okay? I have done it to people, and other Virgos have definitely done it to me. And I appreciate it because later I'm like, oh, this is what this person meant. Yes. Okay? You just be grateful for it. All right? Okay. So they're going to be a reflection of why you chose a different reality. You don't hold it against them because you remember you were once there. We don't rise in order to condemn. We rise in order to be whole, really, one, and then to also guide the rest. Okay? This is our notes. Right now, you're just watching my notes from my life. And then whoever it helps, it helps. Okay? If you guys want a reading, book me. Hey. Well, if your spirit team like my spirit, they will come to me first. But yes. All right. Plug. All right. To include the mature and immaturity of your child, why you choose a... Okay. So yes, so as you are growing and maturing, you're getting out of the state of Babylon consciousness, the state of confusion, the state of immaturity, the state in which you are giving up your whole power externally, right? And not taking your independence and taking accountability for your life. You don't have an external God, okay? God lives within you in your heart, right? And so through that, it navigates your entire life, okay? Which is it's so easy peasy smoothie, okay? Easy peasy smoothie. It's very smooth. The journey is very smooth. Okay, so they're going to be a reflection as to why it is you chose a different reality for yourself, and when they're ready to ascend and move out, they'll do it in their own time. It's not about condemning. That's their reality. Okay, this will show the maturity of your own shadow. Okay, your shadow stays with you. Okay, we can rise above our shadow. We step into the light. We step into the dark. We want our shadows to be very mature. Okay, so this way when we go into smoky place, we know which one is for us. We are above this. Okay, but we watch the younger ones as they're coming to make sure that they are also clean. All right, so we provide them the place for them to exercise their shadow in a safe environment. Okay, all right, safety first. Remember that. All right, to all my people, all my night riders, okay, all my ravers. Okay, safety first, please, for the children of God. All right. So, the heart. Let me take a sip. All right. So we have the heart tells the truth. The heart tells the truth. You cannot lie to your heart space. All right. Your desires are your own, but it will definitely be reflected in your reality. All right. So if you desire confusion, there's more confusion you will get. All right. The heart tells the truth. The contents of your heart sets the resonance. You can't fake that. Okay. You can't fake that. All right. And I love feeling my heartbeat. It's such a good feeling. All right. But it also gets broke when my heart feels sadness. Like if someone is choosing confusion, choosing a state of depression, it actually feels it too, you know, and my chest goes boom, boom. Like when someone who's not allowing love to come in. Okay. That I can feel it. So yes, there's a low part of this, but my people, they mend it. They help me gain the understanding in order to come, to heal it quickly. But it is such a beautiful vibration when you can share that love and someone's open to receive love, and you're able to give it, and you're able to receive and also give. That part right there makes life worth it. All right, your heart was the first organ that was created in your mother's womb, and I promise that sets off a whole nother resonance, a whole nother frequency. Right, and some of us get born again. I don't want to get into all this. I know it's a rabbit hole of things that we can go and explore, but I just want to stick to the conversation. Okay, the heart tells the truth. The contents of your heart sets the resonance. Okay, so there's portals of love versus the portals of lust. Okay, the portals of love versus the portals of lust. Okay, the portals of love are free and they're abundant, and it expresses itself without limitations or barriers because it is wholeness, wholeheartedly. Okay. And when I say this without limitations or barriers, it's because I don't mean not having boundaries. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that when I'm expressing love, I am not scared of nonsense. Okay. Now, when we were younger right? You would be able to, I'm just giving an example. Like if I had a friend, right? I have a friend, a friend that's a girl, and I say, me and my girlfriend are going out, right? The innocence in me saying me and my girlfriend are going out is coming from a place of bond and love. Now, only when it gets inverted and it becomes sexualized, you see what I'm saying? You see the freedom of me saying that I didn't learn anything that is going to inhibit the expression of having two women who are friends and expressing love to one another, not in a sexual way. Okay? Because that boundary is, it's not even something that we even think about, right? It's just certain people who were introduced to connection with other people through only sexualization, it becomes difficult for them to process. Okay? So I would say me and my girlfriend are going out, and then, some people outside of me like, oh, your girlfriend, are you gay? Da, da, da. Like, no, none of that. It's just that we share a frequency of love in friendship. You see? This is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about boundaries as far as like I'm establishing boundaries as far as safety goes, because that's already built into actual love. It's already built in, right? There's some things that we just know not to do with one another, right? I mean, I'm not going to cuss you. I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to do things that will cause harm to you, because we are sharing in the resonance of love. We are safe with one another. We have established safety. The foundation was already firm. It's already, the boundaries were already set. It was already internally known. Okay? That's what I'm saying. That's when I talk about the freedom and abundance. It doesn't have the boundaries and limitations of nastiness or vice. You know what I mean? It's not. We don't have this kind of things. You know? Yeah. Sorry, I just had a visual. It's just when we go about our life and we get introduced to certain entities and stuff, it demonizes the energy of love in its purest form. Okay? That's what I'm saying. The boundaries and the barriers are built into the love. It's not something that, so when we are we freely express it without concern or vice, or it's the innocence of it. Oh, you could die. I had a feeling when I would start doing this was going to start. But anyway, okay, wholeheartedness. Okay, so then we have portals of lust. Limited use, fragmented heart space, cannot fully be inhabited, will be expressed fragmentedly through personal desire because of that. Okay, so lust is a fragmented heart space. The spiders are going to have its way. Okay, lust is a fragmented perception, right? So let's say all your lower level entities, right? So you get confidence, you have sexual desire, and you feel safe enough, but it doesn't reach the heart space, right? You can't really be free because there's something that's missing. Usually it's because you are operating from a place of fear instead of a place of allowing God to show you who people are, which is very patient, and it's not impulsive. If you're moving from a state of impulsiveness, it indicates the universe that you're unsure, right? You don't have the wholeness, the foundation of love. Okay, so lust can only reach your lower level natures, right? When you look at sinners, we're talking about stacks, right? Safety, confidence, and desire, right? They live here, they dwell here. They just have to repeat these things and not actually have the space of connectivity without manipulation. Okay, it's like their heart is fragmented. Okay, they don't know about giving without seeing the exchange physically or trying to manipulate the energy of others. Okay, it's restricted, it's limited. Okay, so in the portal of lust, it's limited, its uses. It's not free. It's not abundant. It's not. It's like, if I give to this person must give me back this thing. Okay, it's very limited. It's very limited. All right, let me take a pause. All right, you have things lurking in the background of confusion, right? Do I trust? Do I not trust? Right? It's like it's moving from a fear frequency. All right, and when I say lust is a fragmented feeling, it's because its only existence is to express your desire, which is like a sacral thing, right? It's for your own. It's very, we call it selfish. Yeah, and not selfish as far as self-advocating. All right, your one life affects many different people, whether or not you want to believe it or not. Okay, so it's really impossible to be really selfish, to be honest, right? As long as, like I said, you are breathing, your existence affects us as a whole. All right. So if you see someone, for example, I'm going to use this as an example to actually drive the point home. Let's say you are committed in love with someone, your wife or your husband, okay? But you have a sexual desire, in your shadow, you have a sexual desire for someone else with no intention to actually love them wholly, right? Love them fully. Okay, so you may cheat, you may lie, you may omit information from your wife in order to have this shadow experience, right? Because your shadow that you're choosing to embody is deciding, yes, I want this desire and I'm selfishly going to take this for myself. And then you will risk the love that you have actually cultivated with your wife, your family, in order to experience this. And then later on, you will see the trickle effects of that fragmented decision. So you had something that was whole, right? Holistically. All right. In a love space. But your shadow, and it's sometimes it's not even your own shadow, by the way. It's shadow that you picked up by watching different things, whether it be porn, whether it be you making contractual agreements with certain spirits in your friend group, right? In your friend group, right? And so you've now sacrificed something that was whole for something that is fragmented, meaning it's just a quick desire, okay, that wanted to express itself. And it's really not really you. Like I said, it's a spirit. Okay, when you can have an all-encompassing love, one that's free and abundant, but you cannot ignore your shadow. This is why shadow integration is necessary. Okay, and picking the right shadows is also very necessary because it's all a choice. Okay, it's a choice. All right. Shadow wants to integrate just as much the experience of heaven without the trauma of the world. All right, so when you talk about selecting your shadow, things that you want to feed, right? You have to feed the right wolf, in other words, right? I hope this is coming out clearly because it's getting long and I'm starting to feel like, okay, am I still tapping on the heartbeat? Okay, but the shadow. Our shadows also want to be integrated, but they want to be integrated in a safe space. They want to be integrated in a free space, an abundant space where it's transparent and it has clarity. Integrating your shadow in a state of confusion, it just brings further shadows of confusion. Okay, and this is why when you think about it, certain people who had sexual experiences in which they had like orgies, right? There's a lot of soul swapping. There's a lot of spirits who are inhabiting certain bodies. I want to feel that. I want to, right? It's all lust based. Okay, and this is where we're talking about that murky waters, the part of unclarity, the part of confusion, right? And now you open a portal for that, for your own spirit to keep going back to that space. It's very unclean. All right, because as we go out, we make contracts with different spirits. This is why this is why you want to be very selective of who you're sleeping with, who you're laying with, making sure that their spirit is clean. Okay, because you're inviting all of that stuff into your vessel. You're inviting all of these shadows and spirits into your space. Okay, into your vessel, and they don't like, some of them don't like leaving. And so you have to do particular rituals. You have to literally establish a certain momentum in order to cast them out. Okay, we all have our shadow side. We all have a side of desire. We all have sacral energy, okay, which wants to be expressed, but it wants to be expressed in a safe environment. It wants to be expressed in a space where there's actual love. They want to be integrated, and they want to be in heaven as well. Okay, now just don't go under. That's why you have to establish a really good connection with your higher self. Okay, so that this way it can be, but you have to set up certain foundational boundaries in love for yourself. Okay, if not, you're going to be in a state of confusion. Okay, you're going to be in a state of confusion. which I in my world is hell and misalignment. Okay, that's why sex is not the problem. It's whom and what entities, which spirits, which shadows you're actually integrating. And as someone who has experienced life and witnessed certain things, it is very important to when you are expressing sexual desire, sexual things, that you want to come from a space of love. All right, and you start with love for yourself first, of course. Okay, then you love your life, and then that frequency, when you're having sex and that frequency is present, it's like pop, pop. I don't know how to explain, but it sends off a huge resonance because your heart is involved. The desires of your heart of wholeness is involved. Happiness is involved. In place of these fragmented spirits who just wants to experience this one moment in time. Okay, and then they'll lead you down a timeline that's not really beneficial for you, a fragmented timeline, a confused timeline. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't have love for you. They just want to experience something. All right. I want to have this experience. Think about it. Think about people who in your life who say things like this. I just want to experience this. I just want to experience that. Right. But really and truly, those fragmented spirits, if they were able to be patient and actually care about what they're cultivating and put the time and energy of love, patience, all that stuff into it, the feeling that they actually want to experience is love. And then when they get short circuited on these temperamental patterns of timelines, right? It's like they just move on to another. They become consumers. They just consume, move on to the next, right? To the next vessel that wants to be embodied by this desire. When really, if you're really in love with someone and all of these other desires, they could be manifested as long as you guys are moving in a clean heart space. All right. If your heart's not clean, if you're still holding on to bull crap from the past, holding on to old trauma, right? And you sacrifice certain parts of yourself to keep in that traumatic state of mind, you won't be able to actually feel that love of like waters flowing. Okay. It's like where your desires are met and your love and you're safe and protected. All right. A lot of us who were born into fragmented realities of hell. Okay. A lot of the women, we really desire to be protected. We want to be, that's really the foundation of it, right? We want to feel protected. We want to feel safe. But once that's done, there's other things that still need to be worked out, right? It's not just the protection that you're just saying there, but what a lot of women were lacking was that feeling of protection. And so once they get it, they feel as if like, yes, as long as I have this, I'll open the frequencies to all of them. And that walk, you got to be mindful. As a woman, please be mindful of that. Okay, there's other things that need to be in space. If this man is moving out of fear, if this man is not in touch with his heart space, if he's not able to receive love, okay, or if he can only receive love through a fragmented space, right? Meaning a lustful space, a space in which he was in a state of lacking, and now he's trying to get fulfilled through you. That is not a safe environment. Okay, it has the illusion of safety, but it's not actual safety. All right, we're talking about emotional security. So when he chooses you, he's choosing you wholeheartedly. All right, in the physical as well as the emotional and in spirit. All right, because remember, he has his own ancestral lineage in which they're all working together in order for everyone to ascend the bloodline. All right, and when we talk about ascending the bloodline, we're talking about giving birth to high frequency individuals. If you're on a certain frequency, and I've ascended from this frequency, I was at a certain frequency. My spirit was on a certain frequency. All right, in order to direct. The egg was like, hey, sperm, choose me on this frequency. Okay. And you have to be able to ascend it. So when I have my child, I will be at a different frequency than which I was born into. Okay. Because those spirits already exist on a certain timeline. Okay. So I hope this made sense. I'm going to listen back to this and hopefully, if not, I'll make a part 2 to clarify anything that I may have trailed off of. But yeah. I ended with Shadow wants to integrate just as much the experience of heaven without the trauma of the world. Knowledge of the experience allows wisdom in the hearts of man. All right. So to build our Akashic records, We have to descend from our areas, our high frequencies, in order to build our consciousness, build our Akashic records. And sometimes that leaves us into a long state of trauma. All right, but that just helps. It helps the collective of knowledge of what is going on in the world, in the hearts of man, what it is. Okay, and then you as a woman, like I said, the selectors and the programmers of society, you get to choose which frequency you want to create life in. Okay. All right, so we're going to do we got 10 minutes. We're going to do a spread. Okay, someone's coming out of a dark night of the soul, a death process. Okay. Arresting, cultivating energy. You're being very mindful of what you're giving energy to. Okay, you're saving. You're saving. Not out of frugality, meaning that you are not doing from a place of lack, but because you're going to need that energy where you're going. 8 of Wands. Oh, okay. We're going to be doing some shadow work. We're going to storm. We're going to the battlefield, okay? Arm yourself with love. Arm yourself with your passions, things that you care about. You're moving quite bravely. Yes, we're going into a certain frequency. What you got? All right. We're no longer moving out of this Page of Cups energy. Come give me. What you got? Page of Cups. Yes. Okay. So they're showing me you've matured quite a bit. You're seasoned in the game. So whatever it is you're about to face, you're going to be able to overcome it. It's already done. It's already written. Okay. So yeah, you're kind of leaving the sun to go into the darkness, but you're well equipped to overcome this. Okay, there's some shadow integration things that you are going to be triggering in others. We have the death card in reverse because you're being reborn. So please save your energy at this time. Save your energy and keep your eyes set on what it is that you are creating. What is it that drives you? That is what's important at this time. Okay. What you got? Okay. Keeping your eyes focused on that is going to keep you from a lack mentality, a lack mindset, a state of poverty. Okay. And they're showing me this sword here. Yeah. Be confident in your knowledge that you've already received. You're going to be as wise as a serpent. As wise as a serpent. With that, there's a great deal of protection that comes with that wisdom. Okay? Page of Swords. Don't be nervous. Just cling to that wisdom. There's nothing to be nervous about. So whoever this reading is reaching, there's nothing to be nervous about, my friend. Okay? You're not impoverished. Okay, matter of fact, the whatever coins or that you've received so far is what's going to keep you warm. You have to use what you have in order to attain what you want. Use what you have to attain what you want and operate from a place of wisdom. Okay, they're showing me the green. Yeah, something it's already you killing off that old version of yourself has already give a rebirth to something new. All right, you're just going to be moving in the shadow for a little bit. There's a big yes on that. Okay, yeah, I know. All right, anything else? Yes, there is something else. Let me put down the pendulum. But yeah, I'm telling you, when you start doing pendulum work, it actually feels so. I like how you never want to stop because it just feels so good. Okay. Anything else from this deck? I don't think so. Okay. They're saying you need make sure you're doing your meditation. Be strong on the meditation part of your journey. Okay. And if you're reflecting on the past, make sure you're reflecting on things that are bringing you love and warmth, especially as it comes to your maternal energy, especially as it comes to your maternal energy. Yeah, that's a big one. Okay. Make sure that your love is your foundation. Okay, because there's many who care and love you in the spirit. Okay, and they're watching your journey, watching your multiple deaths and rebirths, and they're very proud of you. So whatever it is that you're about to face right now, they're showing me these storm clouds that's about to come. You already have what you need in order to overcome it. I'm also seeing that you are very you're excited about it. You're excited about the journey. So keep that. You can face all things with that love. Okay. Is this in this? Yes. Okay. So something is moving rapidly. Something that's bringing forth a cup of water. Pour me water. Holy water. Hey, there's a lot of cups here. Okay. So that's what I'm feeling. Something like a wish that they're saying, a wish that you've made, a wish that you've made is coming through, and you're gonna be able to drink. You're gonna be able to see that it's coming in quickly. Okay, and it's because you move from an immature state. You put a death to an immature ways of thinking. So the ancestors are really happy about it. They're showing me the feathers. Feathers could be important to you. You might see a bird with red feathers. You know, you're gonna hear my yes, I saw a bird. Okay. And then we also have the Knight of, ooh, there's a lot of knights here. A lot, like I'm saying, we're talking about that protection. All right. They're protecting your currency. They're protecting your money and that wisdom. They're protecting the idea. The knights are here. The knights are here to protect you. Stay in your heart space. Stay in the space in which you are. Yeah, they're saying you're no longer going to be in isolation. Let me take a sip of my cayenne pepper water. You're moving out of a space of isolation, but you're not rolling alone. Okay. Ooh. You're being protected by those who eat flesh. Sorry. Don't cantankerize your spirit. Don't get dirty. Okay, that's what they're saying, basically. All right. Don't make yourself sick. Don't allow sickness to live in your heart space. Okay. You stay in the frequency of love. That becomes your protection. It becomes your protection against poverty. It becomes your protection against any ill or sickness. That is what's going on. Okay. When your heart is clean, everything else is clean. All right. Okay. And then we have the judgment card on the bottom. All right. Every time I see this, I think scatter, scatter. All right. Scatter, scatter, meaning God is coming down, like your big bros from the skies are coming down and they're placing you divinely, right? According to your heart space, you're being resurrected. For every death, there's a resurrection. Okay. For every death, there's an evolution. All right. So you're just going through different time capsules, right? Different spaces in order to learn what lessons, and then you move on accordingly. Okay. You move on. Don't get stay. The portals are open for you to move on. Move on. And if you reflect on the past, reflect on it with joy in your heart that you have overcome certain things. Okay. Thank you to the Most High God. All right. And then we also have what we got on the bottom here. Okay. We have the 10 of Cups. Right. Of course, all this stuff comes, right. Judgment comes, the dark nights of the soul. I know there's a full moon energy right now. Moon in Cap. Yeah. Judgments has been placed. All right. We also have the Hierophant here, which talks about lessons learned in the light. So you can move in the shadow. Lessons learned in the light so you can move in the shadow. Someone's saying you're gaining some kind of inheritance from your ancestors. Your ancestors are giving you some kind of gift. Okay, this could come in spiritual form. It could come in physical form. It's an inheritance. Somebody's energy you're going to get. All right. Besides that as well, you're going to be also being blessed by the ancestors. Everyone's coming with their cup, but your cup has been received and it's coming quickly. All right. If you're following this current timeline, you have transcended a lot of things from the past. Okay? And you're able to move forward. Forward, children. All right? You've escaped the energy of poverty mindset, discontentment, spilled milk. Any emotions that were spilled out onto the earth that, you're not reminiscent, you're not stuck there. Okay? And you will be fed in spirit, which then trickles down into the flesh. And you're being divinely protected by both Mother Nature, the Knights of God, the Spirit. There's a lot of protection here. All right. So there's a knight guarding your heart, protecting your heart from backbiters, from the hyenas of the world, right? All because you displayed this kind of goat energy, the greatest of all time. Let me say this: you were the scapegoat in many people's storylines. But God is not sleeping. All right. And the cavalry is here for the hyenas. Just make sure you stay in your heart space. Okay. And when you do that, we have the nines. Okay, you were able to transform is what I see here. It's a 5. Okay, 5 of wands. You're able to but you have the 9s here, completion. Okay, including harvest. Okay, the fruits of your hard work in spirit, conquering battles. I know in the traditional tarot, the 9 of swords usually has to do with like spiritual warfare when it comes to fear, but here in the African American tarot, you have prevailed against toxic energy. Okay, and you have wisdom to be spared. All right, you've been armed. Okay, these swords did not get you down. I know after this is supposed to be the 10 of swords, but in the 9 of swords is where you have all of these thought forms trying to infiltrate, trying to bring you down. Don't bring me down. Don't get me down. All right, you're not confused. You're armed with wisdom and knowledge, and you move on accordingly, divinely. All right, and that's where all of your lessons were, and all of your blessings, all of your things that's given from actual God frequency. That's yours. All right. No one can take away. It's heavily protected. All right. If you guys would like a personal reading, hit me up on Instagram. Oh boy. All right. I'm going to go get my nighttime routine started. I hope everyone is well. I hope this full moon has been treating you well. I know it's kind of intense. If you are getting weighed down, you know exactly what to do. All right. Don't let the Nancy cast you in these webs. All right. Don't let it clean up your heart, clean up your space, clean up your mind. But nothing happens before it's time.